Whoa, hair. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do like an advice type of video because I feel like I like doing advice videos. You guys seem to enjoy my advice that I have to give, and I hope you all know that I'm not knowing of everything. What? Why can't I speak regularly? I don't do these videos to say like don't do this, don't do that. I do them more to say this was my experience, this is what happened to me, and more than advice I kind of tell you my experience and you can kind of learn from that and do what you will with that information. As soon as I turned 20 I knew I wanted to film this video because being a teenager was a huge part of my life. And that is a hard part of your life for anyone. No one goes through it everything being easy and simple because it's a really difficult time in everyone's life. It's full of transitions and change, and lots of things happen when you're in that age group, and as soon as you come out of it you look on the other side and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's so worth it to have gone through all that, and I see all the lessons I've learned now and all the things I could have done differently. And so I want to share that with you guys because I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes as I did. Personally, I hated being a teenager. More than anything, and not just being a teenager, but the way people look at teenagers in general. And I think that, well, when I don't wear makeup and stuff, I think I look pretty young. I don't know how young I look, maybe like 12. But I still get that treatment a lot of the time. But as soon as I say like, oh, I'm 20, or someone asks like, how old are you? I'm like, oh, I'm 20. You get treated so different. It's something that I really struggled with as a teenager, and that is ageist. Like, actually, I didn't know this was a thing, but like, there's sexism, there's ageism, and it's something that I definitely struggled with a lot as a teenager because people group all teenagers in the same category, and we're so different. We're just as different as everyone else. So one of the big things for me as a teenager was school and being really a perfectionist. This is still something that I have to work on because I am a perfectionist and it's really hard for me to let things go. Like if I don't do well on something, I will like flip shit because I worked really hard, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure that I put on myself to be perfect and to get certain marks. Reality has taught me that that's not the way life works. You may work your ass off and still not get the mark that you deserve, and that's the way the world is. That's something that you'll definitely learn as a teenager, is that life is not fair. And I remember this grade 7, I had the same teacher for 2 years in a row, and he was probably my favorite teacher I've ever had, ever. And when you look back after high school and after elementary school and think like what was those like 5 teachers that really stood out to me and shaped me in who I am today, he is definitely one of those teachers. Basically, he would always say to us, remember that when things don't go your way, when things don't work out the way you want them to work out, that life is not fair. This is not just happening to you, this is happening to people all over the world, and you don't deserve it, and you're a good person, and you've worked really hard, but life does not work like that. Life is not fair. And I think that's something you'll definitely become accustomed to and be like, yeah, that's definitely accurate, because you may work your butt off, like I said before, and get no results. So that's something that you'll definitely have to realize and be okay with it. Second big thing for me was friends and boys and communicating with other teenagers. And this was really hard for me, surprisingly. I'm a very social person, but for some reason I went through friends a lot, and it's not something that I'm happy about, and I definitely can take responsibility and see in myself where I had very high expectations of people, and I was very quick to dump people if they were doing things that I didn't agree with or whatever. So instead of like talking to someone, I would basically just be done with it. But as a teenager, you're going to make mistakes like that, and that's okay. That's the end of the day. You're going to make mistakes, and you're going to look back on it and be like, I shouldn't have done that. But it's fine because you're young and you have to make mistakes in order to learn. And I've definitely learned that maybe my friend is doing something that I don't 100% agree with, but that doesn't make her a bad person, and that doesn't make her a bad friend. I definitely learned that it's hard to communicate with other teenagers. It's hard to communicate with yourself as a teenager. It's hard to understand what you're even feeling. You're like, what is going on with me? What am I dealing with in this moment? And you feel like no one else can understand you, but that's not true at all, because everyone's been there, everyone's done that. They may act like they're so above it and so whatever, but everyone's been there, everyone's felt the things that you're feeling. Someone is feeling it in this moment. The aloneness of being a teenager is so sad to me because you're so not alone, and there's so many people out there that are just like you and doing the same things you're doing, dealing with the same things you're dealing with, and I think that's really important to remember. You just need to be able to understand yourself and express yourself, and yeah, so friends was definitely something I struggled with. Like I said, I'm a perfectionist, and I also find that I look for tendencies like that in my companions, the people I hang out with, I like to have them to have a similar drive to me, which is not fair necessarily because people aren't all the same, and that's totally fine, but it's hard for me to hang out with someone who's like super laid back and doesn't really care about anything, and I still struggle with that again today. So that's something that I still have to work on, if you know what I'm saying. I guess the last thing I want to talk about, body image is something felt by men and women and everyone all around the world, and it was really particularly hard in high school because, like I said, you go through all these changes, not just like hormones and, you know, your inside, but on the outside. Like you get hips, you get boobs, or you don't get boobs in my case. Different things happen, you change and you grow, and it's really hard sometimes to keep up with your body, and it's really hard to remain positive about your body when you're going through these transitions, especially if you can't understand it or if you don't have support. And I feel like it's really important to, at the end of the day, look at yourself and remember that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. It doesn't matter how many friends you have. It just depends on how you are as a person and who you are on the inside. If you're a kind, genuine person, and if you work really hard and you're driven, you're going to go places in life. If you're mean and you gossip, make a change. Do something. I really loved the advice my mom gave me when I was young, when there was huge issues in my elementary school of cyberbullying, which I think is crazy. That was happening like so long ago when I was in elementary school, which was a long time ago. My mom always told me, Emily, everything you say, imagine I'm standing right behind you and I can hear everything you're saying. When you talk to your friends, pretend I'm right there. And I have kept that advice my whole life because to me, everything that comes out of my mouth is something that I would be fine my mom hearing. I'm very close with my mom, so that maybe I would say more to my mom than some people, but that's something I take that advice very seriously. Someone that you really respect, someone who you admire, think about how they would react to what you're saying to someone, because gossip and all this stuff is just such a negative, like, black hole. You start and it makes you feel better about yourself, and you think, oh my gosh, yeah, putting this person down puts me above them. Loving who you are as a person. Love who you are, not the outside. Love who you are as a person, and the rest will follow. I've definitely had insecurities, and I've talked about this before, and I've talked about how I struggled with insecurities with my skin. They're just things that you have to realize at the end of the day. No one is perfect, for one, and two, I'm gonna love every part of me because this is who I am. This is what I have to work with, and I'm gonna love it because there's nothing I can do to change it. No surgery, no nothing is going to change who I am on the inside and how I feel about myself on the outside. It's okay to be insecure about certain parts of your body, but then say 5 good things you love about yourself. Say 5 things you think, I love my arms, I love my legs, I love how whatever your things are, and try to see it in a more positive light. So I guess that's my biggest advice for teenagers. Try to be positive, try to love yourself, and if you love yourself, it's easier to love other people and be accepting of other people. And I think that's really important, to love yourself and be accepting of yourself and your mistakes, all your flaws. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you would say to your teenage self, or even if you are still a teenager, advice that you would give to other teenagers out there. And I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. What is this? What is this?